Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in tonight's episode of Should You Summon, let's discuss the various banners, and I do see a new banner here that I don't think was mentioned in yesterday's, update. Although, I don't know if they do have the ways we walked for free. So this one's a little bit different. Anyways, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So note that we do have the ways we walked round 2, and remember the first round was actually free. You could use free stones for it. So I'm actually really surprised that this one does require paid stones, which is unfortunate. Now that being said, the units are definitely newer. It only lasts for about 10 days, so today is actually actually less than that, because today would be the 6th UTC and it only lasts until the 14th, so that's only like 8 days. That being said, if you want to use 1,000 paid stones or your paid subscription Heaven's ticket, you can pull on this one, and it does give you, instead of normally where it's one unit, it does give you 2 units, so guaranteed 2 of the following 10 units. Well, technically you get 2 of the same, but it will be 2 units from these 10 on pulls 9 and 10, and pulls 1 to 8, of course, you can randomly luck into other things as well. Remember that there are over 100 5-stars in the game, and so the odds of you getting any particular one other than the uprated ones are fairly low, 0.02, 0.03, and so on and so forth. 4.5s are also quite low. They are spread out over all the odds, so keep that in mind. And of course, unfortunately, bots Rainbow Sisters and Knights. So, I mean, if you look at the list here, I mean, honestly speaking, nothing would be considered really standing out. I mean, we do love Iska. I mean, there is a Church of Iska. A lot of people do love King Claude, and there are 2 versions of him. AS Forn and AS Runa, you can grind for those, because remember, they are available in 3.5 and 4 stars, and so therefore those are considered almost like freebies. As much as I love my waifu, ES Suzette, I don't consider her much in the way of meta, although, you know, you can still use her. She's quite a decent and capable unit, however, definitely not meta. Now, AS Lovely is interesting. One of the more recent units has a specialized 2-turn automatic tank that allows you to survive any 2 turns back-to-back, and it counterattacks too and heals as well. So that is very interesting as a selection. And finally, to round out the units, AS Hismina, not the Moonlight one, as well as AS Mighty, which is honestly not really much of anything. So these are mostly IDA units with a couple of other units mixed in. I would advise just straight out, save your money, don't summon on this one. I don't think this is considered a highly valuable banner. Now, this one is a little bit different. This one has a lot of new units, and it does include the newest unit, Erinys Felmina ES. And so, again, paid banner. That means, again, 1,000 paid stones or paid subscription ticket. You have Felmina ES as well as El Seal, which is also the last or most recent banner other than Felmina ES. So you have 2 of the newest ones. Primaya is also new. So I think this actually, if you look at these banners, essentially the last 10 newest units. And so I think that's in order as well, actually. So I could count backwards, but I believe that's correct. So you got Alter Lulu, Pisca AS, and so on and so forth. So all of them are there. Technically, Sesta and Tuva were shared, but they're both featured in this banner, as well as Yakumo, Ify, and so on and so forth. So, because there are so many units, that's more than 10, the odds are split. It does guarantee 1 5-star instead of the other one where it guarantees 2. 8.34% or so split up, so 1 in, 12 or so. And again, older units are here, low chance, but they are all there. So if you are lucky enough to get an additional 5-star or 4.5 on pulls 1 to 9, you can get a random assortment of units from that. And of course, normal 3s, 3.5, 4s, the good filler units in those banners. Now this banner, even though it only offers you 1 5-star instead of 2, is a lot more interesting. Now, of course, it depends how much you value ES Felmina, and I'll talk about her a little bit later on. But the other units Many of them are considered very, very powerful. Obviously, Ify, we all know about Ify and how much of a scam unit she is, how she can essentially blood contra everyone, survive lots and lots of different things. We know the power of Yakumo with Kumos and how that shade damage is through the roof. We also have ES Tuva, which can support shade teams, decent damage herself, and not to mention all the other alters out there. Alter Lulu, you've seen me feature her in a 5-star review. Alter Shannon, which is the first Earth Zone setter with a move. We got Miss Pierce Zone setter, Alter Husuki. AS Primaya, which again I haven't gotten yet, so I can't really say too much about her. Sesta, we already know about 5 moves in 1. AS Pizzuka, she loses some singing and abilities for more DPS and a little bit less support. And of course, finally, AS Dewey, which is a water zone setter. Not much to say about him versus, for example, El Seal, which is the newer water zone setter. So again, the value on this depends on how many of these you are missing and the value you put on them. I would argue if you're newer to the game, and keep in mind some of these are still in banners right now, like for example, Devatroid is still here, Sesta's still here. Yep. And that was shared with ES Tuve, which is also still here. Yakumo and Ify, of course, are not, and some of the older alters are not. But of these units, I would say the vast majority of them are quite powerful and very, very useful. In no particular order, obviously, Yakumo and Ify are great. Sesta, many of the alters and so on and so forth. So very good value here if you are missing, I say, more than half of these units. If you are a veteran and you have most of the units, probably avoid unless you really want to gamble on the 8.34% chance of soul of getting the 1 or 2 units you want. So bear that in mind. I think it's much more valuable for newer players, and especially since we are trying to catch up to Japan. It's a really nice banner, honestly. The last 10 or 12 units, last 12 units all mixed into one banner. That's, great, especially if you're just starting the game and willing to spend a little bit of money on it. And again, the featured banner, the Faithful 3 times, pretty standard stuff, 0.8, 0.8, and 0.4, so a full 2% rate up for Felmina in both forms of normal style as well as 5-star and the ES. 10% flat chance on pulse number 10, so pretty good odds of getting any form of Felmina if you're willing to grind out the codexes. This is a great way to get that. Again, all the units are in the game, including El Seal. This is a paid banner after all. And finally, for those who are spending on the free banner, there's this one. And this one, again, because it is shared with a manifest, that is Miras's true manifest, you got a 0.4, 0.8. So this is actually a split banner. 0.4 for the 4.5, 0.8 for the ES. So bid accordingly on that. Remember that on a split banner such as this, 5k stones on average give you about a 50% chance of getting it. 10k is probably closer to 3/4 of about 75% chance. Even at 15k, you're not guaranteed to have this unit. So hopefully if you do summon for this, you get her sooner rather than later. But keep in mind, it's not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, so ES Felmina. Another ES unit. That means that she has an EX bar. If you can get that bar full, and usually that takes a few turns and then a full AF to kind of get it going, she will then do massive damage with the EX move. On top of that, it will stack 50 ice bombs, which is one of her special orbs or charges on all enemies, and it restores her MP power and instant speed plus 100% and increases weakness multiplier for herself only, not a whole team, just herself. And how do those ice bombs work? Well, her main move that replaces her normal attack will preemptively consume all ice bombs on all enemies to do damage. It's water/XXL, so even stronger than XL, and increases power up to 50 times depending on number of ice bombs accumulated from any enemy. So I think that just means you check the number of ice bombs, and then if the highest one will be the one that counts the multiplier. And so obviously 50 should be the maximum. If you can get 50 either after the EX move or over time with some of her other moves that will stack it. Her VC also attacks and stacks 10, for example. Then she'll do a ton of damage, and after doing that, it'll also deploy Water Stance and Awaken Water Zone at the same time. This move also barrier pierces, which is very, very nice. So another barrier piercing unit to add to your team. Not only that, she has a lunatic type move that it works when Awaken Water Zone is activated. And I believe that's starter turn. So that is kind of like Cesta. It'll check at the starter turn if you have a zone. Awaken Water Zone, it'll give her power and speed plus 100, and she will not be targeted by single target attacks. So, yes, very, very useful. She's almost like a ninja, so to speak. And then she'll do tons and tons of damage with her other moves, and they all interact with her Divine Mist state. So, to make a long story short, as long as you have Awaken Water Zone, it's very similar to Cesta, with the Water Awaken Wind Zone, she can do tons of damage and set crit rate, do extra water type res down, and high mod attacks. Her passive skills, I believe she can also inflict pain on all enemies when the starting of battle, just like Iesukia. And I believe it stacks at battle start when she starts in the battle, 10 bombs on all enemies. And then every time you hit the enemy with any water attack, it will stack 1. And that includes El Seal's attacks, which stack those extra link attacks. So very, very synergistic with El Seal and other type of multi-hit water units. And of course, if you've been following along the summoning, there is El Seal, there's Alter Hismina, there is Felmina now, and of course Alter Lulu, all slash water team that would essentially make the ultimate water DPS. I do think that this team would be more powerful than the water DPS from Magic. Eva and Flam are older, to be fair, and so obviously an AS Lily, for example, even Aisha is free, so it's not really comparable. But keep that in mind that you are going to have a much more powerful team this way. The real answer comes down to how much are you willing to spend on this team? Do you have multiple parts to this team? And most importantly, is Iesukia's must summon? And the answer really is scary enough. Depends. I would actually say she's not necessarily required, although she would add Barrier Pierce to your water slash team. If you already have one of the two water teams slash either the Water Awaken slash unit Alter Alulu or possibly El Seal, that would be the start of your zone setting, and then you can just put pieces around it to make it powerful enough. For example, if you are using El Seal as an Awakened Water Zone unit to set zone, you can use RCF and other water type units to round out your team of 4, and obviously whatever supports you have in the back. If you're running Water Slash, you can use Alter Alulu as the the basis of your slash awakened slash zone, and then add whatever slash units that are synergistic, like either Shani or Shigiri AS or Shigiri only. There's a few other ones out there. Obviously, Alter Hismina, so on and so forth. Now, obviously, if you want to build the ultimate water slash team, then you will have to summon on this one. But do you have all the other units that are still available in these banners that that I would rank much possibly more important? Again, if you're newer to the game, these are the decisions you have to make to actually, I would say if you're new to the game, you probably have tons of stones as you're grinding through the story, so you probably have summoned on every banner anyways. It's more like if you're the 1 or 2 year mark where you've kind of summoned on a fair bit of units, but you're running low on stones because, you've already spent your stones and you don't have a lot of income. Number 1, do you have Minoka? Number 2, do you have Cesta? Number 3, do you have... hold on. Alter Lulu. I would say Alter Lulu and Minoka would be targets mainly because they have sidekicks, and their sidekicks are extremely powerful on their own. Not to mention the units themselves are extremely powerful. So you're getting 2 for 1 for your summoning. We always like efficient summoning. And of course, again, if you have those and then you can go for Cesta. And if you still have all those, then you can consider going for ES Felmina, keeping in mind that there is still another unit coming down the road that will help augment water teams. Spoiler alert, we still have the advantage of foresight. Ultra Daenerys is coming, and that will help round out a lot of mixed water teams. And so I'm not sure if you want to spend stones here, or save for Ultra Daenerys, or just pass and don't build the water team because you already have Eva and Flam, and that might be enough. And then look forward and ahead to future units. See, these are the decisions that help to decide whether or not you're going to save stones or get broke. Also, keep in mind that if you are a veteran to the game and you have Felmina in any form, totally do not summon on it, no matter how tempting it will be. Grind out the codexes. You'll thank me later for that. So anyway, let me know how you did on the banner. Also, how you did on Myrus's True Manifest. I will say I've been testing it just a little bit before because I just got home. Not sure if I'm going to finish it tonight because it seems that my Cesta cannot barrier pierce True Manifested Myrus's 3rd HP bar. And so I don't know what the reason for that is. I'll have to look into it, but it doesn't look like that's working. So, yeah. Anyways, as for myself, I'm not summoning for this banner. I already have Felmina, and so I will be grinding out those codexes to conserve stones. I will be able to wait for a few more banners before summoning for a brand new unit if I decide to go for it. And most likely, I am always tempted to summon for units I don't have, as you can see near the end of that. Anyways, good luck on all of you who are summoning, and again, let me know how you did. And if you have any tips on of Myrus's True Manifest, let me know as well. I will be working on that after this video, and we'll see if I finish it or do it tomorrow, because honestly, it's been a long day. First day back at school for the kids, and yeah, lots of stuff to do. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.